What if I told you that one of the biggest influences on male sexual performance today isn't diet, stress, or even age, but something most people never talk about openly? Pornography. Now, before you jump to conclusions, this isn't about morality, judgment, or telling anyone what to do. This is about science, brain chemistry, and what actually happens to male performance when fantasy and reality start to mix. I'm Dr. Ruby, urologist and pelvic health specialist, and in this video, we're breaking down what porn actually does to the male brain, arousal system, erections, stamina, and real-life sexual satisfaction. And more importantly, we'll answer the real question: does porn affect how men perform in real relationships? Let's get into it. To understand this properly, we need to start with how sexual arousal works in the brain. Sexual response is not just physical. It's a brain-driven system involving dopamine, reward pathways, and expectation. When a man becomes aroused, the brain releases dopamine, which is the motivation and reward chemical. This increases desire, focus, and physical response. In real-life intimacy, arousal builds gradually. It involves touch, emotion, connection, and sensory feedback. But pornography changes one key thing. It removes delay and replaces it with instant stimulation. That may sound harmless, but the brain is highly adaptive. It starts learning patterns based on speed, intensity, and novelty. And that's where things begin to shift. With repeated exposure to porn, the brain can begin to adapt to high levels of stimulation. This is called neuroadaptation. Porn offers rapid novelty, constant visual stimulation, endless variety, instant reward. Because of this, dopamine spikes more frequently compared to real-life intimacy. Over time, some studies suggest the brain may become less responsive to slower, natural forms of arousal. This doesn't mean damage in every case, but it can shift sensitivity. Some men report needing more stimulation, more specific scenarios, more intensity than before. Again, this is not about good or bad. It's about conditioning. The brain learns what to expect, and expectations shape performance. Now let's talk about what many people are really concerned about: erections and performance with a real partner. In real-life intimacy, arousal is different. It includes emotional connection, performance pressure, less control over stimulation, natural variability. Some men notice that what used to be enough stimulation no longer feels the same after frequent porn use. This can sometimes lead to delayed arousal in real situations, difficulty maintaining erection under pressure, reduced sensitivity to real-life cues. One important factor here is performance anxiety. When expectations are shaped by porn, real-life intimacy can feel less predictable, which may increase stress, and stress directly activates the sympathetic nervous system, the same system that reduces erection quality. So the issue is not just physical, it's psychological and neurological combined. Another common question is whether porn affects stamina or ejaculation control. Porn often portrays long-lasting, highly controlled performance, but real life doesn't follow scripted editing. Some men develop unrealistic expectations about duration, intensity, consistency. In reality, sexual performance varies naturally based on stress fatigue, partner dynamics, mental state. There is also a phenomenon where highly stimulated visual conditioning may lead to quicker arousal in some cases, while in others, it may cause delayed response. Both extremes can occur depending on the individual. The key point is this: porn does not teach the body real-life pacing. It teaches visual response patterns. And real intimacy is multi-sensory, not just visual. Here's the good news: the brain is highly adaptable. If porn has influenced arousal patterns, those patterns are not permanent. The nervous system can recalibrate through reduced overstimulation, real-life intimacy, time and consistency, stress reduction. This is often referred to as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Many men report improvement in sensitivity, confidence, natural arousal, emotional connection when they shift focus back toward real-world stimulation patterns. It's not about elimination, it's about balance. Porn does not automatically damage performance, but it can influence how the brain responds to arousal, especially when consumption is frequent and paired with high novelty stimulation. The biggest factor is not porn alone. It's the gap between conditioned expectations and real-life experience. Understanding this gap is what allows you to regain control, confidence, and awareness. At the end of the day, real intimacy is not about performance. It's about connection, presence, and understanding your own body. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more science-based sexual health content. And remember, your body adapts to what you train it for. Choose wisely. So let's bring everything together. When we talk about porn and male performance, the biggest mistake people make is thinking in extremes. Either it ruins everything or it has no effect at all. But the truth, as always in medicine, is somewhere in between. Porn is not inherently harmful in a medical sense. It is a form of visual stimulation, and for many people, it exists without major issues. However, the problem begins when the brain starts to consistently learn from it as the primary source of sexual arousal. Your brain is extremely adaptable. It is designed to learn patterns based on repetition and reward. So if most of your sexual stimulation comes from high-intensity, rapidly changing visual content, your brain begins to expect that level of stimulation as the baseline. Then, when real-life intimacy is introduced, where things are slower, more emotional, more unpredictable, the contrast can feel noticeable. Not because real life is lacking, but because the brain has been trained in a different environment. This is where issues like reduced arousal, performance anxiety, or dissatisfaction can sometimes appear in certain individuals. But again, this is not permanent damage. It is conditioning. And anything that is conditioned can also be reconditioned. Your nervous system responds to what you repeatedly expose it to. If you train it toward overstimulation, it adapts. If you gradually shift it back toward natural stimulation, real-life connection, and reduced dependency on artificial intensity, it adapts again in the opposite direction. That's the important message here. This is not about guilt. It's not about fear. And it's definitely not about labeling anything as good or bad. It's about understanding how your brain and body actually function so you can make informed decisions. Because at the end of the day, sexual performance is not just about technique or physical ability. It is deeply tied to attention, presence, emotional connection, stress levels, sleep, and overall lifestyle. If there is one takeaway I want you to remember, it is this. Your brain learns from repetition. Your body follows your brain, and both can change. So whether you choose to continue watching porn or reduce it, the key is awareness, not unconscious habit. And if you are someone who feels like things are not functioning the way you want in real-life situations, the solution is not panic. It's understanding your pattern and slowly resetting it. Small changes done consistently are what rewire the system. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe because I break down these topics using real science, not myths, not fear, and not internet rumors. And as always, take care of yourself because your health, your confidence, and your well-being are worth it.